Welcome from Alice to the last chance qualifier to begin the year 2024. We will start soon on event 1, girls 50-yard freestyle. And then event 1, girls 50-yard freestyle heat 1. Lane 3 from HPAC and lane 4 and 5 unattached. And we have started the first race of the meet. It looks like lane 4 is ahead, going into the 25-yard turn. And lane 4 will touch first with a time of lane 4 is not going to show up, but lane 5 did touch with a time of 29:43, and here's lane 3 with a 47.58. Now heat 2 of event 1. Lane 1 from unattached, lane 2, 3, 4 are from Tri-City, lane 5 from RGV, and lane 6 HPAC, and lane 7 from Tri-City. Now it looks like lane 1 is taking the lead, going into the 25-yard turn. And then it is lane 5, then lane 3 and 6. And lane 1 will touch with a time of 31.52. And then lane 5 will touch with the time of 39.61. Lane 3 with the time lane 4 with the time of 42.84.
About 3 seconds.
Okay. All right. Heat 3. Heat 1 is from Tri-City. Heat 2 from Vortex. Heat 3 is from RGV. Lane 4 is from HPAC. Lane 5, RGV. Lane 6, unattached. Lane 7, Vortex. Lane 8 is from RGV. And it looks like lane 6 is taking a lead at the 25-yard turn. And it looks like lane 4 and 8. Four is going. Lane 6 touching with a time of 36.69, and it is lane lane 4 second and lane 8 third.
Heat 4 of the girls 50 free. And we've got lane 6 finishing first, 28.81. Heat 5 of 50 free. This is the last heat of event 1. Lane 4 places first with a 25.13. Lane 5 is second with a 26.66. Those girls swam hard. Moving on to event 2, boys 50-yard freestyle. Heat 1.
I would leave it alone. I don't know.
I've never seen that before.
Some
I get it. I get it. Heat 1, we've got Leah McCloy killing it in lane 2. Leah McCloy finishes first at 30.10 seconds.
was listed after he cheats return, so my mom figured out he cheats return.
I. This is where I
Heat 2. Lane 1, unattached. Lane 2, 3, and 4, Tri-City. Lane 5 is RGV. Lane 6 is HPAC. And lane 7 is Tri-City. Looks like lane 5 or lane 8 is already almost finished. Looks like he didn't touch. And then it will be lane 5. It looks like lane 5 is going to touch second, and lane 4 is going to touch third. Lane 5 with a time of 44.84, and lane 4 with a time of 45.37. And lane 7 with a 106.27, and looks like lane 1 with the time of 111.86. Now we are going into heat 3. Lane 1, Tri-City. Lane 2, Vortex. Lane 3, RGV. Lane 4, HPAC. Lane 5, RGV. Lane 6, unattached. Lane 7, Vortex. And lane 8 is RGV. And it looks like lane 5 is taking the lead at the 25 turn. I was right here. I was right here.
Wait, where are you?
I was on
Okay, we're on event 2, heat 3 down here. So we're about to turn the page, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Wait.
Now we're on heat 4.
Oh.
Event 2. Our kids are both.
Okay. It does not. All right. Now we are going into heat 5. The last.
Heat 4.
Wait. Okay.
Heat 4.
Heat 4.
Levi.
Lane 1 is from RGV. Lane 2 is McAllen Swim Club. Lanes 3, 5, 6, and 7, and 8 are all from HPAC, and lane 4 is McAllen Swim Club. And it looks like lane 2 is taking a lead going into the 25-yard turn. And then lane 5. It looks like lane 2 is going to win the heat. Lane 4 with a time of 29.77. And then lane 4 will touch in second with 30.77, and lane 5 will touch third, 31.50. Heat 5. This is the last heat of the boys 50-yard freestyle. Lane 1 from McAllen Swim Club. Lane 2 from Tri-City. Lane 3 and 4 are from Unattached. Lane 5 is from Mission Marlins. And lane 6, 7, and 8 are all from HPAC. And it looks like lane 4 is taking a lead. Lane 4 from Unattached. And will touch with a time of 24.35. And lane 5 coming in second with a 25.51. And lane 3 coming touching in third with a time of 26.15. We are finished with the boys 50-yard freestyle. Now we were going to start.
Is there anyone swimming the 200 back on your heat sheet? The heat 3. Or no, wait, no, event 3.
Event 3, I have no
Yeah.
entries.
There are no entries for the girls 200-yard backstroke. We will start event 4, which is the boys 11 over 200-yard backstroke.
Quick break, we're changing a touchpad.
And we're going to have a break for
You had to get
fixing the touchpad.
34.49. You got 34.55. You were this close. You didn't get a BB time. You beat your time, but you didn't get a BB time. But, all right, so your next one for your chance for a BB time. All right, the 100-yard backstroke. You've never done it before. So you're listed here, but that's the time Sarah threw in. You've never done it. But listen, this is the time you need to beat. You need to beat 1:29.29. You need to beat faster than 1 minute and 29 seconds to get it in the 100 back. If you turn over, only one. Remember, do not do a second one or you're DQ'd. Be very careful. If you're not confident in it, do it that way, okay?
After this break, we are starting the boys 11 and over 200-yard backstroke.
You shaved off a second.
And it looks like lane 8 is going to be and we're going to be fixing lane 7 and 8 touchpads. And they are putting a touchpad in for lane 8. And it looks like lane 8's touchpad is fixed. And we are starting the event 4 boys 11 and over 200-yard backstroke with only one heat. So lane 3 unattached, lane 4 McAllen Swim Club, lane 5 HPAC, and lane 6 McAllen Swim Club. This is the 200 backstroke, so it will be 8 lengths of the pool. And it looks like lane 4 is taking the lead at the 50. And lane 4 is taking the lead at the 100-yard mark. And lane 4 taking the lead at the 150 mark. These will be his last 2 lengths of the pool. Lane 3. Lane 3 touching the wall at second, and lane 5. And it will be lane 4 winning the 200 backstroke with a time of 2:15.55. And lane 3 touching for second place with a time of 2:41.22. And then it looks like it will be lane 5. It's going to be third with a time of 2:59.20. And we will be starting the event 5. Event 5, girls 50-yard breaststroke. Heat 1. Lane 3 from unattached, and lane 4 and 5 are from Tri-City. Looks like lane 3 is taking a lead going into the 25-yard mark. And lane 3 will be first, touching with a time of 40.30. And lane 4 coming to the wall with a time of 1:14.91. And lane 5 touching the wall with a time of 1:43.15. And now we will be starting heat 2 of event 5. Lane 1 is from STSA, lane 2 HPAC, lane 3 Tri-City, lane 4 and 5 are from HPAC, lane 6 unattached, lane 7 Vortex, and lane 8 is Tri-City. And instead of STSA, it is RGV. It looks like lane 4 or lane 3 is taking the lead. And lane 3 touching the wall with a time of 44.82. Lane 4 is second place with a 47.40, and lane 5 is third place with a time of 51.31. Now we are starting heat 3, the final heat of the girls' 50-yard breaststroke. Lanes 1 and 2 are from Tri-City, lanes 3 is from RGV, lanes 4 and 5 are from Tri-City, lane 6 is from HPAC, and lane 7 TCA, and lane 8 is from unattached. And it looks like lane 4 taking the lead at the 25. Lane 5. And then it looks like lane 2 or 8. Lane 1 touching with a time of 34.93, and lane 5 touching second with a time of 36.81, and lane 8 with a time of 38.05. Now we will be starting event 6, boys 50-yard breaststroke, heat 1. Lanes 2, 3, and 7 are from HPAC, and 4, 5, and 6 are from McAllen Swim Club. And it looks like lane 4 will be taking the lead going into the 25-yard mark. And it will be lane 5 second at the 25-yard mark. And then lane 6.
Yeah, he's not swimming yet. He's not doing any more.
Lane 4 touching with a time of 46.71, and then lane 5 with a 50.86. And then lane 6 with a time of 1:14.49. And we are going into heat 2 of the boys 50-yard breaststroke.
Get it, Ryan.
While we are waiting to start, lane 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7 are all from RGV, and lanes 3 and 8 are from HPAC, and lanes 4 is Vortex. Now we are taking a little bit of a break until we start heat 2.
It should be on. Yeah.
Now we are taking a break. Alright, it looks like we are finally starting. Starting. Oh. And it looks like lane 3 and 4 have false started.
Maybe whenever it doesn't
Looks like. And lane 6 taking the lead. It looks like lane 6 and 4 are tied. And it looks like a tie going into the 25. And it looks like lane 4 is going to touch first. With a time of 50.86, and then lane 6 touching with a time of 53.71. And then lane 5, or lane 8 with the time of 57.59.
What? Who is that? She was asking if I was swimming.
And just a reminder for Heat 3, Liam McCloy will not be swimming in lane 6. All right, while we wait, Heat 3. Lane 1, Vortex. Lane 2, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all HPAC. Lane 3, McAllen Swim Club. And lane 4 is Tri-City Aquatics. And it looks like we are starting Heat 3, which is the final heat of the boys' 50-yard breaststroke. HPAC. And it looks like lane 4 touching the wall with lane 5 and lane 2. And lane 4 touching the wall first with a time of 31.71. And lane 5 touching the wall with a time of 35.49. And lane 2 third with a time of 42.10. And then we will be starting the event 9 girls 100-yard butterfly. Lane 3 and 5 will be RGV, and then lane 4 HPAC, and lane 6 unattached.
Lane counters for the 500 to the bullpen.
Wait, where's the 500? Where's the 500 free?
500. No, 100.
All right.
Right now.
Instead of starting the 100 butterfly, we are going to be doing the 500 freestyle. And currently, I do not have the heat sheet for it right now. Heat sheets did not include 7 or 8, which is the 500 freestyle. And we got the lap counters on the other side of the pool. And while we wait, lane 3 from Tri-City, lane 4 from RGV, and lane 5 from Tri-City. We will be taking this break and starting the girls 500-yard freestyle.
Okay, so
Okay. We'll start with the girls first. It's the girls event 7.
I think the girls are gonna be shorter because let's see. Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's not like shorter than really. It was a really event that was looking forward to qualifying into stacks because it was very hard. I had to drop like 30 seconds for me to go. And also, like, I don't know, swimming it at a championship meet, it's like, I have this thing like, whenever whenever I'm nervous going into like a 500 meter on the first step, my arms feel like the same pain they would as you feel at the end of the match. It's like, yeah, and it's this sort of breathing technique that you have to have. And I'm so nervous, I have to hold my breath. And then that's what probably makes it harder because I don't have enough oxygen. That's what I'm looking at.
And it looks like we are starting. Keep in mind that the 500 is 20 lengths of the pool. And now we are starting the boys 500-yard freestyle. And lanes 2 from HPAC, lanes 3 unattached, lane 4 Mission Marlins, and lane 5 RGV, lane 6 is SEAL, and lane 7 is RGV.
Harlingen Seal Swim Team. He wants to help you. Oh, I'll move. Come on over, Ben. Hi. Hello.
Looks like lane 4 is in the lead right now.
Have you swim?
Yeah, do you want just the 50 freestyle?
I did the 50 free as well. Then I have a 50 back and a 100 free.
If you want to say anything to this, I mean, well, you don't have to because this is the 500 freestyle. There's nothing really that interesting to say. So I'm just going to turn this off.
And it looks like lane 4 will be touching the wall first with a time of 5:21.85. In lane 6, oh wait, lane 3 with touching the wall in second place with a time of 5:30.09. And lane 5, third place with a 5:35.12. In 6, we have fourth place with a time of 5:41, or hold on, I don't think they touched. I don't think they touched. But with lanes 2 and 7 are still going. And lane 6 will touch with a time of 6:18.25. And it looks like lanes 2 is swimming his last 50. And lane 7. Lanes 2 is swimming his last 25 of the race. And we got lane 7 over there. Lane 2 touching the wall with a time of 7:08.80. And then we have lane 7 who will touch the wall with a time of 7:21.73. And then after this, we are starting the girls 100-yard butterfly with only one heat. Want to do it? Just say lane 3 from RGV, lanes 4 and 5, or lane 4 from HPAC, and lanes 5 is RGV, lane 6 is unattached. So you got this here if you don't know what this means. Well, this is HPAC, probably know that. All these.
Right here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Lane 3 is RGB, lane 4 is HPAC, lane 5 is RGB, and lane 6 is unattached currently. Looks like lane 3 is in the lead for now, at least. Looks like lane 6 is kind of coming back, though. Lane 4 is currently in the lead with lane 6 following close behind. And it looks like lane 4 is still in the lead right now. Finishing, oh, never mind.
Looks like lane 4 did not touch, but lane 6 coming with a time of 1:17.19. Lanes 4 results had just come in, 1:12.86, and lanes 3 touching at third with a time of 1:26.63. And then lane 5 touching the wall with a time of 1:32.64.
8.
Lanes 3, Tri-City. Lanes 4, HPAC. And lanes 5 is Mission Marlins. And lane 6 is Tri-City. And we're starting the boys 100-yard butterfly. Looks like lane 4 is taking the lead, going into the 25 mark. And close is lane 5. Yep. And lane 4 taking the lead at the halfway. Also lane 5, who are about probably tenths of seconds. But lane 4 is still taking the lead. Now it is getting really close. Now lane 5 with the lead. Now lane 5, almost a body length lead. And lane 5 will touch first with a time of 106.95, with lane 4 touching the wall with a 108.99. And then lane 6 with a time of 129.7, and lane 3 with a time of 123.44.
Next we have the girls 11 and over 200-yard breaststroke. Again, girls 11 and over 200-yard breaststroke. In lane 4, it's from Tri-City, and lane 5 is from HPAC. And it's just those two contestants today.
And it looks like we are taking a break for the swimmers.
I'm just gonna look through this.
We actually have 31 events for today.
Huh.
We're on event 11.
12 more events until I go.
And after this event, we have 20 more, or we have 21 more events until we end this meet. It is going to be a long meet. We started at 12:30. Looks like we're gonna probably be ending at 2, 3, or 4.
Alright, lane 4 is Tri-City, lane 5 is HPAC, and there they go. Let's see. What happened? Looks like it's pretty close, but currently lane 4 is in the lead. Touching the wall almost remarkably at the same time. And it's currently tied right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our HPAC miscounter swimming in lane 5, Annika Brashears. For a 200, she always seems to miscount and does 550s instead of 4. Let's see if she gets it right today.
Looks like lane 4 is still in the lead, almost a body length distance. All right, again, still a body length distance. Maybe a little more than that between lane 4 and lane 5. Looks like lane 5 starting to drop behind by quite a bit, actually. Is this the final 50? Is this the final 50? Or is this... Okay, in the final 50, lane 4 is still strong in the lead. Lane 5 is going to need to pick up if they have a chance of winning. Lane 4 is still strong in the lead, almost 4 body lengths distance between them. And looks like lane 4 finishes with a time of 2:57.40. Lane 5 coming up soon right here with a time of 3:08.40.
All right, this is event 12. We are starting the boys 11 over 200-yard breaststroke with only one heat. Lanes 3 from RGV and lanes 4 from McAllen Swim Club, lane 5 unattached, and it looks like Liam McCloy's not swimming this race. And this is indeed a close race, but it looks like lane 4 is first at the 25-yard mark. Now it is going to be lane 5 taking the lead. And lane 3's kind of dropping behind a body length.
Looks like lane 4 is re-engaging. He's not going to let lane 5 beat him this time. And yes, lane 4 is slowly but surely starting to take the lead. Lane 5 dropping behind by about a body length. Still holding strong in that body length distance. I don't know if lane 5 is going to be able to regain this one.
And it looks like lane 3 is about 3 to 4 body lengths behind second place.
And yes, lane 5 has slowly dropped behind. Lane 4 is currently in the lead. Pretty far ahead of the other ones.
Lane 5 was about a quarter to half a body length ahead of him, of lane 4, but now he is about 4, 5, or 6 body lengths ahead.
Meanwhile, lane 3 is desperately trying to catch up. I don't know why I'm being dramatic.
And it looks like this is lane 4 is going to the wall. And finishing first with a time of 2:38.65.
Lane 5 close behind him, coming in with a time of 2:50.70. Lane 3 still coming up on the wall here. All right, lane 3 made it to the wall with a time of 3:30.
Okay, we have event 13. The girls' 100-yard backstroke, and this event has 2 heats. Lane 3, unattached, and lane 4 and 5 are HPAC. But it looks like only one swimmer is swimming, and that is lane 3 of unattached. And a bit of a late start from lane 3. This is our first, maybe only race with one swimmer.
At this point, it's more of a time trial. What's the swimmer's name? Emily Rubio. Where is it? Let me see. Currently our only swimmer today in lane 3 is Emily Rubio, unattached.
And she will be going into the 75-yard mark with about a time of 1:05. And this is her last 25.
Starting to lose a bit of speed there, but still going strong. Coming up on the wall with a time of 1:26.28.
All right, now we are starting heat 2, the final heat of this event. Lanes 2 and 7 are from RGV. Lanes 3 is HPAC. Lane 4 unattached, and lanes 5 and 6 are Tri-City. And it looks like lane 3 is HPAC is having the lead. And then now it's lane 4. Now this is a pretty bit of a close race, but not now. Lane 3 is getting back the lead. Now turning at the halfway mark, lane 3 seems to be just about a quarter body length. But now lane 4 is getting some ground. Now it is lane 4. It is now lane 4 with about a half body length ahead of lane 3. But lane 3 with a little bit of a quicker speed. Lane 3 and lane 4, who will touch first?
Okay, the boys 100-yard backstroke, event 14. In lane 2, we have unattached. Lane 3, we have RGV. Lane 4, we have McAllen. Lane 5, we have Vortex. And lane 6, we have McAllen. It looks like lane 2 is in the lead strongly, nearly lapping some of the racers.
And lane 2, first at the 75-yard mark, while his other competitors are just finishing their 50. He's about more than 25 yards.
And lane 2 touches with a time of 1:0:23.
And then lane 4 touches with the time of 1:35.93. And then there's lane 5. And it looks like lane 5 did not touch. Now they just reset it. It is 1:51.68.
And lane 3 just finished with a time. The time has not shown up yet. Oh, there it is. Lane 3 is in third place with a time of 2:01:39.
Oh wait, this is different. Hold on. We gotta find the other cheat sheet.
Look for event 14.
Oh, here it is.
Heat 2. Lane 1, McAllen. Lane 2 is McAllen. And looks like lane 3 is not swimming. And lane 4 is RGV. And then lane 5, Mission Marlins. Lane 6 is Vortex. Lane 7 is HPAC. And lane 8 is HPAC.
Okay, it's pretty close between lane 4 and lane 5, but lane 4 is slowly taking the lead. Lane 5 is about a body length behind. Again, lane 4 is still in the lead, about a body length and a half ahead of lane 5. Looks like lane 4 touches in first place with a time of 1:03.85. Lane 5 close behind in second place with a time of 1:06.74. About a 3-second difference. Pretty close between lane 1 and lane 2. Looks like lane 1 touches first with a time of 1:24.60. Lane 2 with a time of 1:25.42. So this is next?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you say girls 200 IM. It's pronounced.
Okay. Next event is event 15, girls 200-yard IM. In lane 1, sorry, not lane 1. Lane 2 is RGV. Lane 3 is HPAC. Lane 4 is unattached. Lane 5 is unattached, and lane 6 is RGV. looks like lane 4 is currently in the lead, followed close behind by lane 5. Lane 3 is also kind of close. We've seen a coincidental rivalry among these races between lane 4 and lane 5. Event 24, I think. Again, it looks like, yes, still lane 4 in the lead. Lane 5 has dropped behind by a large distance, about 2 body lengths. I'm okay, thank you. Lane 4 still in the lead. The racers are starting to slow down. Their energy's kind of dropping. Lane 4 is starting breaststroke. It looks like that backstroke gave lane 4 an edge against lane 5. Lane 4 is now starting freestyle. Lane 5 is still on butterfly. Okay. Lane 4 coming up on freestyle. And they finished in first place with a time of 2:41.34. I do, yeah. Okay, every lane is finished. Our next event is the boys 200-yard IM. In lane 2, we have HPAC. Lane 3, HPAC. Lane 4, we have Mission Marlins. Lane 5, we have Tri-City. Lane 6, we have RGV. And lane 7, we have unattached. Lane 4 in the lead, followed close by lane 7, touching the wall at the 25 mark, nearly the same time. Looks like lane 7 slowly but surely taking the lead. And it looks like now lane 4 is taking the lead. Again, touching the wall at nearly the same time. Both of them starting their backstroke. I can say it loud. Can I do it?
Oh, I can do hard things. Ladies and gentlemen, we need 3 relief timers to continue the meet. We need 3 relief timers.
You want me to do it? We need 3 relief timers to finish the meet. Looks like lane 7 came in first place with a time of 2:15:38, and lane 4 very close behind, just a second of a difference, in second place with a time of 2:16:59. Lane 6 and lane 5 finishing at nearly the same time. It's going to be kind of hard to call. You should announce it now while it's quiet.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need 3 relief timers to continue the meet. 3 relief timers. Thank you.
I know, I hate speaking.
You like speaking. It's a mental thing.
I said speaking, not.
Oh, I hate talking.
I know, even though I do it so much.
No, I legitimately, like, I would almost go to tears when I first started switching to content.
Our next event will be event 17. It's a girls 50-yard butterfly. In heat 1, we have lane 1 is Vortex, lane 2 is unattached, lane 3 is HPAC, lane 4 is HPAC, lane 5 is Tri-City, lane 6 is RGV, lane 7 is RGV, and lane 8 is HPAC. What did you place?
Second, 5th. I was going against like 14 or 15.
That was still good. I announced it again. All right. It looks like lane 5 is in the lead going into the 25. Now, lane 5 may be looking good to win, but never know. This is a 50. But it looks like she's going to finish. Lane 3 also really close, but it is lane 5. Okay. Lane 5 with a time of 39.72. And lanes 3 with a time of 41.56. And lanes 2 with a time of 43.15. We got heat 2, which is the final heat of the girls' 50-yard butterfly. Lane 1, unattached. Lane 2, Tri-City. Lane 3, Tri-City. Lane 4, unattached. Lanes 5, HPAC. Lane 6, Tri-City. And lane 7 and 8 are RGV. Now it looks like lane 3 is in the lead right now. Lane 3 for Tri-City. Oh, but lane 4. Lane 4. It is really close. Lane 4 and 3. Who is going to win it? Lane 3 is catching up. Let's see who's going to win it. And it is lane 4 with a time of 31 flat. And lane 3 got second place
with a time of 31.34. And also lane 1 with a time of 33.04. And now we got the boys 50-yard butterfly with only 3 contestants. Lane 3 is HPAC, lane 4 RGV, and lane 5 is unattached. And it looks like one contestant is out, which that is lane 3. Ernesto Gonzalez. And it is lane 5 going into the wall with a time of 30.20. And lane 4 still looking strong. Does someone want to announce with me? I think he's coming back. And lane 4 touching the wall with a time of 109.93. And then we got heat 2 with a lot of swimmers. Lane 1, Tri-City. Lanes 2, 3, and 4, HPAC. Lanes 5, McAllen Swim Club. Lane 6, Tri-City. Lane 7, HPAC. And lane 8 is RGV. And then we have lane 4 in the lead. Lane 4, HPAC, Marcus. Or actually, it is lane 6, touching the wall at the 25-yard mark. Wow, and things just took a change as lane 6 is about 3 body lengths ahead. And you will touch with the fastest time yet, a 28.79. And lanes 5 and 4, along with lane 5 and 4. And then 1 and 8 are pretty close. And then five. And that is the final heat of the boys 50-yard butterfly. Then after that, we have the event 19. And we have a break. And then after that, we've got the girls 200-yard freestyle with 3 heats. All right, it looks like we are going to start the 200-yard freestyle. Lane 3, unattached. Lane 4 and 5 are from our RGV. But it seems like we only have 2 out of 3 contestants. All right, we are starting the 200 freestyle as lane 4 gets an early lead. And going into the wall, lane 4 still has the lead. This is our first race of 15. We took a 15-minute break. And lane 4 still with the lead at the 50-yard mark. And they're about 3 seconds apart from each other. And lane 5 is dropping behind, probably about 5 or 6 seconds below or below lane 4. And lane 4 still with the lead. And lane 4 going into the halfway mark. And they're about no different apart from each other since the last 50. And lane 4 still strong going into the 125-yard mark. And it looks like they're going about the same speed, but lane 4 was just going pretty much faster in the 100. Now lane 4 is going a little bit faster. We are missing one swimmer, McCloy Levi. And lane 4, these are their last 25 yards. And lane 4 going into the wall with a time of 3:27.7. And lane 5 behind her with a time of 3:27.98. Now we are going to go into heat 2, lane 1 from RGV, lane 2 and 8 from HPAC, lane 3 RGV, lane 4 is Tri-City, and lanes 5 unattached, and lane 6 is RGV. And this is a lot more swimmers, but we are missing lane 2. And it looks like lane 4 is getting the lead at the first 25. Oh, but now it's lane 5. Great underwaters from lane 5. Ashley now has the lead. But now it's tied. But lane 5 gets the touch at the first 50 with the 32.76 against a 33.04. And it is lane 5, but lane 4 is also catching up. And it looks like they were about tied going into the 75-yard line. Oh, but now there's a huge difference as lane 5 has about a body length ahead. But lane 4 is going a little bit faster. And it looks like it is a bit of a tie, but lane 5 touches first. Now the halfway mark. And lane 5, about a body length ahead, still going strong. With lane 4 right behind her. And then it is now about 1.5 to 2 body lengths difference. Lane 5 is going very strong. And into the last 50 for lane 5. And lane 4 about 3.5 seconds behind lane 5. And then we got lanes 6 and 3. Oh, but now lane 5 is in her last 25 yards. Lane 5 going into the wall with a time of 2:25.16. And lane 4 touching the wall second with a time of 2:32.45. And then we have lane 6, who's going to finish third with a time of 2:40.67. And then lane 3 with a time of 2:46.15. And then lane 1 finishing with a time of 3:02.09. Now we got heat 3. Lane 1, Tri-City. Lane 2, RGV. Lane 3, HPAC. Lane 4, Tri-City. Lane 5, HPAC. Lane 6, unattached. Lane 7, HPAC. And lane 8, Tri-City. And it is lane 4 with a great underwater. Lane 4 and 3 looking pretty close, but now it is a body length. Great underwaters from lane 4. Lane 4 looking very strong. Lanes 3 and 6 behind. Now in the 75 mark. And now lane 6 is ahead of lane 3 for second place. And now into the halfway mark with a time of 57.96 for lane 4 in her first 100. Lane 4 still looking strong. And lane 3 and 6 are behind her. Lane 3 and 6 are pretty close. And lane 4 going to the last 50 of the race. And it is lane 6 that is trying to compete for second. But lane 3 trying to get back her second place lead. Now lane 4 in the last 25. And now lane 5 looks to be ahead of lane 3. And lane 4 touches first with a time of 2:03:06.06. And it looks like lane 6, it touches with a time of 2:16:18. And lane 3, fourth place. Oh, and lane 5 with a 2:17 flat. And lane 3 touching fourth place with a 2:19.24. Then fifth place is lane 2, sixth place is 1, and seventh is 8th, and 8th is 7. Now we are going to the Event 20 Boys 200-yard freestyle. Heat 1. Lane 3 is RGV, lane 4 RGV, and lane 5 HPAC. And it looks like lane 5 will be leading at the 25-yard mark. Lane 5 still looking strong. And lane 5 and 4 are pretty close, as it is about a 1 second difference. Lane 3 is still trying to catch up. And then lanes 3 and 4, really close. Or lanes 4 and 5 are pretty close. And lane 3 is dropping behind. And lanes 4 and 5 going to the wall, and it will be about a 97/100th of a second difference. But lane 5 is trying to still have the lead. Now lanes 5 and 4 are going to go into their last 50. Now it makes about a 2-second difference. A 1 in 94/100th of a second difference. But lane 3 is falling behind, as lane 5 and 4 are about a 50 ahead. Now 5 looking pretty strong and looking good for the win. And lane 5 will finish first with a time of 2:57:40. And then lane 4 with a time, it seems like he didn't touch. But lane 3 with the, lane 3 with a time of 3:08:89, and lane 4 with a time of 3:03:11. And lane 3 is still in his last 50. Lane 3 entering his last 25. And lane 3, finishing with a time of 4:13.46. Now we are going to heat 2. Lane 2 is RGV, lane 3 is Vortex, lane 4 is McAllen Swim Club, and lane 5 Tri-City, lane 6 is RGV, and lane 7 is Vortex. And let's see. Great underwaters. They're pretty good underwaters from lane 2. With the best underwater. And it is going to look like lane 5 taking the lead at the 25. And lane 5 and 4 are looking pretty close. And it looks like lane 5 is going to finish a quarter of the race first. Lanes 2 and 4 are looking pretty close. And now 3 or 4 is trying to gain on 5. It will be 5 touching first at the 75-yard mark. Four is trying to catch up. And it looks like it is a tie, but let's see who touches first. It is lane 5, and it is about a 6,500th or a 3,500th of a second difference. And they look tied right now. Going into the 125-yard mark. Lane 5 having faster flip turns than lane 4. Might be what costing him the race. But lane 4 is catching up. Lane 5 touches first with a time of 1:49.27. And lane 5 is going to still try to have that lead, but lane 4 is getting faster. Lane 5 in the lead. It keeps switching back and forth now. Now it's lane 4. Now it's lane 4 with about a body length lead. Lane 4. Lane 4 touches first with a time of 2:25.45. And 5 second with a time of 2:27.47. A 2-second difference. And lane 2 with third touching a time of 2:31.97. And it'll be lane 3 will be finishing third, but did not seem to touch. Now we are going into heat 3. Lane 1 from Tri-City, lane 2 RGV, lane 3 HPAC. And, never mind. Lane 1 HPAC, lane 2 HPAC, lane 3 HPAC, lane 4 McAllen Swim Club, lane 5 MMA Mission Marlins, and lane 6 HPAC, lane 7 Tri-City, and lane 8 HPAC. And they're looking fast. But it looks like 5 took that lead. Probably this is the fastest race of the event. And it looks like lane 4 is taking the lead at the quarter mark. Lane 4 still looking strong, but lane 5 is right behind him. And lane 3 is catching up as well. It seems to be a tie, but lane 4 is now lane 4. Lane 4 is catching up. And he will be touching first at the halfway mark with a time of 58. Lane 4 looking strong, now about a body length ahead. And lanes 3 and 5 are looking close. Lanes 6 and 7 are looking pretty close as well. Lane 4 doing his last 50. And lane 3 is now in the second position. It is a pretty close. Now lane 3 is catching up on lane 5. Lane 4 in his last 25 yards. About 3 body lengths ahead, about half a pool. And we have lane 4 touching first with a time of 1:59.36. Then lanes, it is a 200th of a second difference. Between 5 and 3, it is a 2/100th of a second difference. Really close to a tie. And lane 1 will touch 6th place with a time of 2:33.48. And that is it for the 200-yard freestyle, the boys. And now we are going into event 21, girls 100-yard breaststroke. It is oh, you're back. We're starting the girls 100-yard breaststroke. I'm just going to turn this. Now we are starting the girls 100-yard breaststroke. Lane 1 is unattached. Lane 2, TCA or Tri-City. Lane 3, Tri-City. Lane 4, Tri-City. Lane 5, Tri-City. Lane 6, Tri-City. And lane 7 is RGV.
Currently, it looks like lane 1 is in the lead, followed close behind by 2, 3, and 4. Lane 4 reaching the 25-point first, I believe.
Like lane 4 is coming in strong and is going to finish first with a time of 1:22.34, along with lane 3 with a time of 1:26.53, and lane 1 with the time of 1:28.16, and lane 6 with the time of 1:29.62. Lane 5 got 5th with a time of 1:34.97. Now we are going into the boys 100-yard breaststroke. With lane 1, lane 3 being RGV, and lane 4 HPAC, and lane 5 Vortex, and lane 6 is McAllen Swim Club. And lane 6 with the lead. But lane 4 going really fast. And it looks like 4 and 6 are in a tie. 6 touches first at the 25-yard line, which is a quarter. Lane 6 looking strong, as well as lane 4. And it looks like lane 4 is getting the lead. And lane 6 actually touches first with a time of 51.59. Lane 4 in the lead now. And lane 4, 3/4 of the race in, his last 25 yards. And it looks like 5 next to him, lane 5 is going to get second. Lane 4 will touch first with a time of 1:46.22. And then here comes lane 5 with a time of 1:52.31. And lane 6 with a time of 1:55.94. And here is lane 3. Finishing with a time of, seems like he didn't touch, 2:15.41. Now we're in heat 2. Oh gosh. Alright, it looks like lane 1 is not swimming this race. Lane 2, HPAC, lane 3, RGV, lane 4, Tri-City, lane 5 is SA San Antonio, and then lane 6 is Tri-City, lane 7 is I don't know what lane 7, but lane 8 is HPAC. Lane 4 taking the lead at halfway. Lane 4 is touching first at the 75-yard. And lane 4 touching first with a time of 1:10.78, and lane 5 with 1:14.48, and lane 3 with a time of 1:23 flat. And that is the end for the 100-yard breaststroke for boys, and now we're going to girls' 50-yard backstroke. Hey, Lucas, you want to help me announce? Hey, Christy, what, is he about to do a race? Is he about to do a race?
Yeah, okay. He's gonna do the 50 back.
All right. We have girls 50-yard backstroke. Heat 1 is lane 1, HPAC. Lane 2, Tri-City. Lane 3, HPAC. Lane 4 is RGV. And lane 5 is Tri-City. Lane 6, Tri-City. And lane 7 is HPAC. Event 23. And it is lane 7 in the lead by about half a body length, but 4 is catching up. And lane 7 will take the lead at the halfway. And it looks like lane 7 is going to win this. And lane 7 finishes first with a time of 40.56. And lane 4 finishes second with a time of 55.24. And then lane 1 finishing third with a time of 57 flat.
What? Well, yeah, I don't know.
Huh? Oh, he's about to swim race. The other kid. But the other kid's gonna be here soon. All right, heat 2 is lane 1 is RGV, lane 2 HPAC, lane 3 RGV, lane 4 RGV, lane 5 unattached, lane 6 and 7 are HPAC, and lane 8 is unattached. Heat 2. And it's lane 4 with the lead, and now it's 5. Flip turning at the halfway mark is first. Lane 5. And this is a not so close race anymore, as it is a body length lead. And lane 5 finishing to the wall with a time of 37.40. And lane 4 finishing second with a time of 39.84. And lane 8 finishing third with a time of 42.80. And lane 6 got 4th place, and lane 2 got 5th, and lane 6 got, or no, lane 7 got 6th place, and lane 1 got 7th place. Now we are going into the final heat of the event, heat 3. Lane 1, Tri-City. Lane 1s, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6, and 7 are all Tri-City. 7 from one team in one race, and then HPAC in lane 7. That is the most swimmers in an individual race from one team. And it looks like lane 4 is taking the lead at the halfway mark. And lane 4 looking very strong and finishing with a time of 31.17, along with lane 3, 35.92, and lane 8 with a 36.16. And lane 6, 4, and then we got lane 2 who got 5th place, and lane 1 who got 6th place. And then we got the boys 50-yard backstroke, event 24. Lanes 1, 5, and 8 are HPAC, and lanes 6, 7, and 2 are RGV, and then lanes 3 is McAllen Swim Club, and lanes 4 is Tri-City. Looks like lane 5 is taking the lead, along with lane 6 and 3. And it is 5 who finishes, or who flip turns at the halfway mark first, along with lane 6 and 3. And lane 5 finishes first with a time of 46.89. And then lane 6 with a time of 53.31. And lane 3, who did not seem to touch, but 8 who got third place, and 2 who got fourth place, and 7 who got sixth place, and 3 who got fifth place, but looked as if he got third. Now we are going into Heat 2. Lane 1 is RGV, and lanes 2 is HPAC, and lanes 4 HPAC, and lanes 7 HPAC, and 6 HPAC. And also lane 5 is McAllen Swim Club, lane 8 Vortex, and lane 3 McAllen Swim Club. And yep. We're on. Looks like lane 6, McCloy Levi, is not at the blocks. And also lane 3 is not at the blocks. Or lane 6 has just showed up. But looks like we are missing lane 3, who is Emmy Camargo. And lane 4 with the lead, along with lanes 2 and 5. Lane 4 looks like he is going to finish first, along with lanes 5 and 6. And lane 4 touches first with a time of 35.97, along with lane 5, who touches with a time of 40.80. And then lane 6, who gets third place, touches with a time of 43.82, along with lane 2, lane 8, and then seems like lane 7 did not touch. but lane 1 will finish 7th with a time of 109.87, and 7 gets 6th. That was the final heat of the boys 50-yard backstroke. Now we're on event 25, girls 11 for 200-yard butterfly. And we only have 2 contestants for this. Or no, there are no entries for the girls 11 over 200-yard butterfly, but for the boys, there are 2 contestants. It is lane 4 from McAllen Swim Club and lane 5 from SEAL. Now lane 4 with the early lead. And lane 4 will be touching the wall first at the 25-yard mark. And lane 4 still strong, touching the wall a quarter of the race first. And lane 2 seems to be a body length below him. Lane 4 touching first at the 75-yard mark, and then lane 5. Lane 4 still looking strong, and 5 about 2 body lengths below him. And then lane 4 touching first at the halfway mark. Lane 5 is looking pretty exhausted. But lane 4 is first at the 125-yard mark. Now keep in mind, this is the 200 butterfly, possibly the hardest event to do. So they're very exhausted. And lane 5 about a 25 below lane 4. And then lane 4 in his last 25 yards will touch the wall first with a time of 2:30.23. Then lane 5 doing his last 25 yards. He looks exhausted. And lane 5 finishing second with a time of 3:01.25. And now we are on event 27, the girls 100-yard freestyle. Heat 1, lane 3 is unattached, lane 4 is Tri-City, lane 5 unattached, and lane 6 is HPAC. And lane 3, lanes 3 and 4, really close. But lanes 6 and 4 are dropping behind. And lane 3 at the halfway, touches first at the halfway mark. And lane 3 and lane 4 doing the last 25 yards. And lane 4 is touching first with a time of 1:09:39. And then lane 5 is finishing second, touching with a time of 1:14:21. And then lane 6 finishing third with a time of 1:50:05. And then we have lane 4 finishing at fourth with a time of 2:18:56. And we're going into heat 2. Lane 1 and 2 from Vortex, and lanes 3 from RGV, and lanes 4 from Tri-City, and lanes 5 HPAC, lane 6 unattached, and lane 7 is from RGV, and lane 8 is from Tri-City. And it looks like 4 is taking the lead. Looks like 4 is taking the lead. Tied with 5. Now 5 is in the lead. And it looks like lane 6 is not swimming. Lane 4 is in the lead. And lane 5 and 4 are tied. But lane 4 is going a bit faster. And lanes 5 finishing first with a time of 1:17:74. And lanes 4 touching second with a time of 1:21:76. And lanes 3 finishing third with a time of 1:31:38. And then lane 2 gets fourth, and then lane 7 get fifth, and looks like some swimmers have not. And then lane 1 gets sixth. It looks like 8 has not touched the touchpad. Now we are going into heat 3. Lane 1 from HPAC, lane 2 from unattached, lane 3, 4, 5, and 6 are from Tri-City, and lane 7 and 8 are from RGV. And lanes 2 had great underwaters. And lane 2 and 3. Lane 2 in the lead, looking strong. And lanes 2 is in the lead. And right below is lane 3 and 5. Lane 2 looking strong with lanes 5 and 3 right below. And lane 2 will finish first with a time of 105.87, along with lane 3 with a time of 106.96, and then lane 5 with a time of 107.55. And then lanes 4 get 4th, and then lane 6 get 5th, and then lane 7 gets 6th, and lane 8 get 8th place, and then lane 7 gets 7th. Now we are in heat 4, the final. Now we have lane 1, 2, and 3 unattached, and lanes 4 Tri-City, lanes 5, 6, and 7 are HPAC, and lanes 8 are RGB. And it looks like we are missing lane 2, Jade Garcia. And lane 4 is looking good for the lead. And we'll get first on the halfway mark. Right below lane 4 is lane 5 and 3. And lane 4 in the last 25 yards. Lanes 5 and 3. And it looks like lane 4 finished first with a time of 57.46. And then lane 5 got second with a time of 1 minute flat and 2.9, and lanes 3 got third with a time of 1:01.92, along with lane 6 getting fourth, and then lane 1 getting fifth. Now we are on the boys 100-yard freestyle. Cannot. And we have heat 1, lane 3, HPAC, and lane 6 is HPAC, and lane 4 is unattached, and lane 5 is McAllen Swim Club. And lane 4 is off to a good lead, way ahead of his competitors at the halfway point. Flip turn at the 26.18. And right behind him are, 5 and 3. Right behind. And lane 4 will finish first with a time of 54.27. And it looks like lane 5 is in possession to get second. And lane 5 finishing with a time of 1:37.60. And then lane 3 finishing with a time of, or lane 6 finishing with the time of 1:47.35, and then lane 3 getting fourth. And then we got heat 2. Lane 1 RGV, lane 2 RGV, lane 3 Vortex, lane 3 Vortex, lane 4 is Tri-City, and then lane 5 is McAllen Swim Club, lane 6 is RGV, lane 7 RGV, and lane 8 is RGV. That is 5 swimmers from one team, close to 7, well, not really, but that is still a lot. 5 swimmers from the same team in one heat. And it looks like 4 and 5. 4 has the lead at the halfway. And it is about a 41/100th of a second difference, so about halfway. And then lane 3 is lane 3 below them, as well as lane 6. And lane 4 has the lead going into the 75 mark. Tied with 5th place. They're going head to head, as well as lane 3 at the 75 mark. And lane 6. Lane 3 is in good possession to get 3rd place, and it will be lane 5 first with the time of 1:28.20, and lane 4 getting second with a time of 1:30.89, about a 2-second difference, and then lane 3 getting 3rd with a time of 1:41.07. And then lane 6 getting 4th, and then we have 1 who is in good possession to getting 7th, or no, 5th, and lane 2 gets 5th, and then lane 1 gets 6th, which doesn't seem right. That'll probably be to the timers to go on to meet mobile. But now we are going into heat 3, with lane number 1 being Vortex and lane number 2 being Vortex. Lanes 3 and 4 and 7 are HPAC, and lane 5 McAllen Swim Club, and lane 6 is RGV, and then lane 8 is Tri-City. And then lane 7 gets 7th place, and 8th seems to get 8th place. Now we're going to heat 3. And heat 3 of 5 in the boys 100-yard freestyle, and it looks like lane 5 is getting a good start. And it is still 5 going into the 25-yard mark. And it is still 5. And right below him are 2 and 4. So lane 5 getting first at the halfway mark, and 2 getting second. And then it is 4 getting third. Lane 5 first at the 75 with about probably a 4 or 5 second difference between 2 and 5. And then lane 4 is in good possession to get third, and lane 2 is in good possession to get second. Lane 5 touches first with a time of 107.43, and lane 2 finishes second with a time of 113.83, and lane 4 gets third with a time of 121.33. And third gets 4, and 1 gets 5, and 6 will get 6th place, and lane 7 will get 7th place. In 8th place, going strong into the wall, doesn't seem to be touched, we'll get a time of 144.40. Now we're in heat 4, lane 1, RGV, lane 2, 6, and 8, HPAC, lanes 3, McAllen, lane 4, Tri-City, lanes 5, Vortex, and lane 7 is RGV. And it seems like a false start from lane 8. And 1 going with really good underwaters. And it seems like lane 4 will be flip turning first at the 25 mark. And lanes 2 is in, and lane 1 is now in the lead, or 2, and it is lane 2. And then lane 1 has a good possession to get second. Now it is lane 1 who's in the lead. And it seems like a tie, but lane 4 is also catching up. Now it looks like lane 4 is in the lead. But lane 1, it's lane 1, and then it's lane 2 and lane 4. Lane 1 touches with a time of 104.51, and then lane 2 finishes second with a time of 105.08, and then lane 4 gets third with a time of 105.73. Lane 3 gets sixth, lane 5 gets fourth, and lane 6 gets fifth, and then lane 7 gets eighth, and then lane 8 gets seventh. And then this is heat 5, the final event. Lane 1. Lanes 1, 2, and 3 are Tri-City. Lanes 4 unattached. Lane 5 HPAC. Lanes 6 unattached. And lane 7 McAllen Swim Club. And lane 8 is HPAC. And great underwaters from lanes 2 and 3. And it looked like lane 6 or 5 is lane 6 is in the lead. But lane 5 is catching up. Now it's lane 5 with the lead. Lane 5 or lane 6 touches first. It's a 500th of a second difference at that wall. Lane 5 seems to have the lead. Lane 5, he looks to touch first at the 75. And lane 5 is going strong. Going into the wall with a time of 56.81. Along with lane 6 who got 58.21 and lane 3 who got 58.35 and lane 2 who got 4th and lane 1 who got 5th and lane 8 who got 6th and 7th who got 7th. And we now have the girls 11 and over 400-yard IM. There are about 2 or 3 contestants in this race. Now it looks to seem 4. On the heat sheet, it says no entries for this event, but now it seems like 4 people have signed up for it. Oh, wait. No, wait. Hondo. What is this? What's this event? Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, this is not the 400 IM. This is the girls 100-yard IM. So there's no one as well swimming with the boys 11 and over 400 IM and the girls. So now we are on event 31, girls 100-yard IM. Heat 1. Lane 3 is unattached, lane 4 is RGV, and lane 5 is unattached. And lane 3 with a great start. Lane 3 in the lead. And lane 3 finishes first at the 25 mark. And right below is lane 5 and lane 4. And lane 3 is in the lead. Right below is lane 5. And lane 5 is going to finish first at a time of 1:20.77. And here comes lane 5 with a time of 1:33.80. And then lane 4 will finish in third place with a time of 1:53.43. And we have heat 2. Lanes 1, 2, and 7 and 5 are RGV, and lanes 3, 4 are HPAC. Lane 6 is unattached, and lane 8 is Tri-City. And lane 3 has the lead. at lane 8 has, and lane 5 is touches first at the 25, close with lane 8, but lane 8 has the lead. Great underwaters from lane 8. And lane 8 will finish first at the 50-yard mark. Right below is lane 3 and 5. 4 and 5 are really close. Lane 8 touches first at the 75. And then lane 8 is finishing to the wall with a time of 1:25.34. And then lane 4, who's going to touch first? It is lane 5 who gets third. Lane 4 with a time of 1:35.20 and lane 5 with a time of 1:34, or no, lanes 5 with a time of 1:34.91. Wait, no. Lane 2 is 4 with a time of 1:32.87, and then 5 gets third with a time of 1:34.91. And then heat 3, lane 1, 2, and then 4, 5, 6, 7 are Tri-City. Lane 3 is unattached, and lane 8 is RGV. And lane 4 has the lead by the 25. And good underwaters from lane 4, who is going to finish first at the halfway mark. Or flip turn first at the halfway, not finish. And right below are lane 5 and 3. It's really close between 3 and 5, but lane 4 touches first at the 75 mark. And lane 4 finishes with a time of 1:06.50. And it will be lane 5 finishing with a time of 1:15.97. And it's really close between 1 and 2. And 2 will touch first. And then lane 6 gets third place with a time of 1:18.43. Then we're on event 32, the boys 100 IM. Lane 1 HPAC. Lanes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are RGV, and then lane 7 is unattached. And it seems like we are missing lane 2. We're missing lanes 2. His name is Dominic Garza. And it seems like lane 7 has the lead at the 25. Right below is lane 1 and 3. And lane 7 touches first with a time of 29.51. And here is lane 1. Lane 7 in his last 25. High. And then lane 7 finishes first with a time of 106.56. Then lane 5. Then lane 1 going strong into the wall. And finishes second with a time of 140.85. And here comes lane 4. And 4 finishes third with a time of 207.87. And lane 3 gets fourth. No, lane 3 gets fourth, and lane 6 gets fifth, and lane 7 gets first. And then here's lane 5. Here's lane 5. Touches 6th for a 303.91. And then we have heat 2. Lanes 2 and 3 and 5 and 7 and 8 are HPAC. Lane 6 is Tri-City, and lane 1 is Vortex, and lane 4 is Tri-City. And then looks like 5 is leading. And right below is 4. And it looks like 4 is a 45 or 3500th of a second difference at the wall, but now 4 is about a body length and a half ahead, and 4 will touch first at the 75 mark. And then 4 will finish first with a time of 106.88, along with 5, who finished with a 110.41. And then here's 6 with a time of 118.63, and lane 2 with a time of 126.52. And here comes lane 8 and 7. And lane 8 got 7th, and 7th got 5th. And then lane 1 with a time of 140 flat got 6th place. Alright, we are going to have the 1,650. This is a very long race. it is over 60 laps. It is 66 lengths across the pool. And we're going to be finding lap counters. And we will be taking a break. And we have lane 4 unattached. And we have lane 4 unattached and 6 or no, 5. No, 6 is and we got lane 6 from Mission Marlins. and lane 6 in the lead.
Put that way, the freestyle is definitely not your best stroke so far. Because your head is just like, kind of like. And then the other thing is like you have your wiggle the worst. You know what I'm saying? Your body cannot. But yeah, but for the back, for the
And we and lane 6 about a 50 ahead of lane 4. And lane 6 is at the 19 lap. And lane 6 is at his 20th lap. And lane 4 is at and lane 6 is at the 24 laps. A 600. And lane 4 at her 23rd lap. In lane 6 is going to the 27th lap. And lane 4 is going to a 24th lap. And lane 6 is at his 28th lap. Lane 4 at the 25th. And lane 6 at his 30, or is 29th lap? Or is that 29 or? Yeah, that was a 29 lap. And this is his 30th lap. Almost halfway the race. Just 3 more laps until he reaches halfway. And lane 4 just at the 29, and lane 6 has just flip turned at the 31st lap. And lane 4 flip turning at the 30th lap, or 28th. And lane 6 at his 33rd lap. And lane 4 is flip turning at her 30th lap. And lane 6 is flip turning at his 35th lap. And lane 4 at her 31st lap. And lane 6 is about to flip turn at his 36th lap, just 3 laps over halfway. And lane 4 flip turning at the 32nd lap. And lane 6 flip turning at his 37th lap. And lane 4 flip turning at her 33rd lap. Lane 4 is halfway through the race. And lane 6 will be flip turning at his 38th lap. And lane 4 will be flip turning at her 34th lap. And lane 6 at his 39th lap. And lane 4 is at the 35 mark. And lane 6 will be at the 40th lap. Then lane 4 will be, then lane 6 flip turned at the 41st lap. Yeah, and then lane 4 will be flip turning at 37th lap. And then lane 6 flip turning at the 42 mark. And lane 4 at her 38 lap. And then lane 6 just flip turned at the 43rd. So lane 6 is about to flip turn at the 44th lap. And lane 4 is at the 39 mark. And lane 6 is flip turning at the 45th lap. And lane 4 is flip turning at the 40th lap. And lane 6 is about to flip turn at the 46th lap. And lane 4 about to flip turn at the 41 lap. And lane 6 just flip turned at the 46, now it is at the 47 mark. And lane 4 at the 42nd lap. And then lane 6 at the 48th lap. And lane 4 will be flip turning at the 43rd lap mark. And lane 6 will be flip turning at the 49 mark. Just 17 more laps for lane 6. And about 21 more laps for lane 4. And lane 4 flip turning at 44 lap. And lane 6 is flip turning at the 50th or 50th, yes, 50th lap. And lane 4 flip turning at the 45 mark. And lane 6 flip turning at the 51 mark. And lane 4 flip turning at the 46 mark. And lane 6 flip turning at the 52nd mark. And lane 4 will be flip turning at the 47th lap mark, and then lane 6 will be flip turning at the 53 lap mark. Lane 6 will flip turn at his 54th lap mark, or 54th lap, which that makes 12 more laps to go. So, 300 left. And lane 6 will be flip turning at the 55 mark. So just 11 more laps. And lane 4 will be flip turning at the 49th lap mark, which is 17 laps. 17 more laps for lane 4. And then lane 6 will be flip turning at the 56th lap. And lane 4 will be flip turning at 50th lap. Which that makes 16 more laps for lane 4. And lane 6 just flip turned at the 57 mark. So that makes 9 more laps. And lane 4 flip turned at the 51st lap mark. And lane 6 just flip turned at the 58. which that makes 8 more laps for lane 6. So just 200. And lane 6 just flip turned at the 59th mark, and lane 4 flip turned at the 52nd lap. And lane 6 flip turning at the 60th lap mark. He has 6 more laps. And lane 4 just flip turned at her 55th lap, so she has 11 more laps. Lane 6 flip turned at the 61st lap mark. And or no, lane 4 just flip turned at her 55th lap mark. So now she has 11 more laps, and lane 6 has just, after this lap, he has 2 more laps left. And lane 4 at her 57th lap mark. And lane 4 flip turning at her 58th lap mark, so she has just 200 more. And lane 4 flip turning at her 59th lap mark. And lane 4 flip turning at her 60th mark. So now she has 6 more laps. And lane 4 flip turning at the 61st lap mark. And lane 4 flip turning at the 62. And now she just have 1 more 100. And now lane 4 flip turning at the 63. And this is our last 50. This is lane 4 last 50. And lane 4. finishes with a 2:23 with a 23:10.79. Okay. Thanks for watching us. Have a happy new year.